I'd like to call the meeting to order, the Adirondack Central School regular board meeting, Tuesday, January 12th at 7:10. Sorry for the delay. Hard to believe there may have been some technical difficulties, but I think we're up and running. If would everyone please rise and join with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The good and bad of being 100% remote is unfortunately not a lot going on in the overall school community. Though staying safe and healthy it should be the order of business anyways. And overall, I think we're doing better than an average job at it, but we still have to remember the times we're in and keep up the good work. Tentatively, and I say tentatively, we are moving in the direction of starting back on our hybrid schedule on Tuesday the 19th. But these conditions are fluid and changing, so we just have to wait and see. But as of right now, yes. At this time, why don't we get right into the budget presentation, or this portion of the budget, with Sharon? Yep. And I've got a mute. Thank you.
Okay, in your packet this evening, you received the transportation budget. I have to turn up my volume. There is not a large amount of difference from the previous fiscal year or current fiscal year. We do have slated to purchase 3 buses. This afternoon, I did email you the bus schedule that puts the projection out for 10 years of what our bus fleet would look like if we continue with the 3 bus per year replacement cycle. As a reminder, bus aid is given for the actual physical buses on a 5-year basis. So as we purchase a bus, we purchase 3 buses a year. For the next 5 years, we receive the aid back. It also factors into our tax cap. Does anybody have any questions about the fleet mileage schedule? It's a no. Hearing none. The only other, well, there are 2 other issues. The other issue that was identified in the memo is the thought of perhaps replacing the routing system, but we're awaiting a quote. We currently have Traversa. We're looking at perhaps changing, but we have to see exactly what the cost of that is. There are some other repairs to the bus garage we're waiting for quotes on. We did receive 1 quote, but as soon as we received the quote for some repairs at the bus garage, the company no longer did those repairs, so we're awaiting another quote from another vendor. And that is on the lifts at the bus garage. Is there any questions on transportation?
What is the, what's our track record with the routing system that we have? How long have we had that? What was before? Isn't this about the 3rd one? And
Hold on, everything. Currently, we have Traversa. I can't remember the one that we had previous. I think we've had Traversa for 5 or 6 years. The one that we had before that, I think we have had the duration that I have been here. So I think probably about 10. But I will check on those. I think we have had Traversa for 5 years, but I will verify that. there any other questions about transportation? The buildings and grounds budget you also received. There are not, again, any huge increases or decreases in the transportation budget. There is presently money budgeted in there for another plow truck at the high school complex. That is estimated a purchase of a new plow truck off-state contract of about $40,000. We did have an accident involving one of our trucks. We will have an insurance settlement on that, but I don't think that will obviously equal the new plow truck. So that is something that we have to look at, and probably by the next board meeting, we'll have a better grasp on what the plan is, at least for this year, because obviously we need to, unless it stops snowing, we're going to have a plan of how we're going to accomplish snow removal for the current fiscal year. The rest of the line items have remained basically the same. There is some change in the electrical repairs. There was an increase there, but we are also looking at seeing if that can potentially come out of the capital project. So that one will be fluid as well. At the next budget meeting, we do a full budget for everyone to look at that will have some estimated actual numbers. And a little more information on bonds, health insurance, things of that nature, but the board does receive a full budget at the next board meeting.
Which is next month. The second meeting this month.
January 26th. Bruce Brock raised a hand. I don't know what to do about that. Bruce, you have a question, but you have to unmute.
Yes, thanks, Sharon. Oh. Sorry about that. Is natural gas, where's the closest natural gas line to the West Leyden School District?
I have no idea. I can ask.
I just wonder if they run down 26.
No. I can ask. You got a mute over there. There you go.
Okay.
I can ask a question. Any other questions regarding budget?
Okay, let's move on. Were there any submissions online for a public forum? Okay. Administrators' reports.
You're muted, Mr. Kramer. We didn't hear the end.
Sorry. So the administrators' reports will start with Heidi.
Okay, good evening. I just wanted to share with you that, and obviously Cam will talk about this, but we're making a lot of progress with the project, and it's exciting to see it coming together. So it'll be great for our kids. We're excited about that. The other thing is this week we met with department chairs, guidance counselors, administration, and we were talking about how we can help kids be successful or create more success for kids. And currently right now, we're offering a 3 to 5 program for assistance, and we're still working on ideas and ways to assist the kids given that we had this closure for an extended period of time. Also, we have a couple kids that applied for the Clarkson Challenge Project. So that's exciting for those kids. That'll start in January here. There'll be classes, so that's a great opportunity for our kids. And that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Heidi. Yep.
I called Ed this afternoon, and progress reports came out a few weeks ago, and the end of the marking period is coming up. And I understand that we've got a number of students that are on that list of they're either failing or they're on the watch list. And I asked if he could ask the administrators to give a brief report on what those numbers look like, with the idea that if we're in the budget period, as far as summer programs or anything like that, to try to bring those kids back along and get them caught up. So if each one of the administrators could just, in your building, what's that percentage of students that are on that danger list of failing multiple subjects?
Did you want that? Were you expecting that information tonight as part of the reports or for the next meeting?
My hope was to get it tonight, based on the belief that this is a topic with the administrators. So I would just like to be in the loop on that and know what those numbers look like.
Thing tonight? Are they? Okay. If any of the administrators, because they weren't all here today, Bruce, if any of the ones that are on can provide some of that information, we'd appreciate it in the report, a ballpark figure. Next, we will go to Dan.
Hey, good evening. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the district's been working the last few weeks to try and solidify our plan in the district should we find the need to do testing in the district and hit 20% of the staff and students there if our zip code falls in the yellow zone, as some of the other area schools have. So we've been working with the district nurses quite a bit lately. We've also partnered with the Upstate Family Healthcare Center in Utica on Noyes Street. They've been very, very accommodating. The health center is one of the hubs that's really worked with a lot of the area schools in our area to provide a lot of the testing for the schools. So we feel we've got a pretty comprehensive plan together in each of the buildings right now. Actually today we performed a simulation drill in each of the different schools that the administrators and nurses and even some of the other staff were a part of, and we did a walkthrough drill. So it went actually very well, and we kind of found a few different areas that we could probably make better, and we also found some areas that we were doing very well in. And again, I think we got a pretty good plan together should we need to implement this. And knock on wood, we're hoping maybe we don't have to, but I think we're pretty well prepared should we need to. So we have that in place, and I think pretty much ready to go. In the sports world, not a real lot, I don't think, has changed since I last talked to you. High-risk sports are pretty much off the table for the winter. New York State has not authorized them in any way, shape, or form still. Low and moderate risk sports are a go. at the league in Section 3 level, they will be starting next week for most of the area schools when they come back from remote instruction. A lot of the area schools will be back next week. Some will be back the week after. Whenever they come back from remote instruction and they're able to, and if they're obviously if their district approves, they're moving forward. Obviously, the only two sports we have in the hopper should we approve it is bowling and Nordic ski. I have an AD meeting tomorrow morning, so I'm going to be reporting what the status of our district is. And like I said, next Tuesday, that's when the low and moderate risk will start pretty much in the area in the league and Section 3. That's all I have. Thank you.
Any questions? Any questions for Dan? Okay, Wendy.
Good evening. The January 12th, 2021 board action sheet that we gave you lists the information for the CPSC and the CSE meetings that were held since December 3rd. In summary, we held 22 annual reviews, 1 program review, 2 new referrals, 1 transfer intake, 2 amendments, and 10 reeval annual meetings. We do have 7 reevaluation meetings scheduled to be held in February, and we feel that they will be completed on time and as scheduled in spite of the period of full remote instruction when we were unable to assess our students' cognitive and academic skills performance in person. So we're pretty confident that those meetings will be held on time. Our students in Kristen Corman and Rebecca Hauser's classrooms were assisting with our district's backpack program when we were providing in-person instruction. The students, with the assistance of the teacher aides, were sorting and packing the foods for distribution. So we're really looking forward to getting back on track with that program next week when our students return for in-person instruction. 10 of our district's required special education data and verification reports are due to the State Education Department the first week in February. So I will be reviewing and certifying those reports within the next couple of weeks. Just so you're aware, the verification reports include information such as suspension rate for students with disabilities, preschool and school-age child counts, including information such as race, disability, ethnicity. We also report our personnel and also all of the least restrictive setting reports for both our school age and our SWID. And then finally, and as Bruce, as you asked, although I did not bring the data, and to echo the concerns of the administrators as they're going to be reporting tonight, and as we near the end of the second marking period, the special ed department is looking very carefully at the progress and the performance of our students with IEPs and 504 accommodation plans. Of major concern is our high school students, because many of our high school students with disabilities have post-secondary and transition plans and goals that involves attending BOCES their senior year to participate in one of the CTE programs. So it's really paramount and important that we make sure they're on track so that they can attend BOCES and that they have earned the required number of credits that they need to get on to work towards that goal. One of the ways we are looking at supporting our students that may be at risk of failing or of not meeting grade level expectations is to possibly create personalized learning plans for them that will outline the specific steps and actions that they're going to need to get back on track, to pass, and to get caught up. The principals will have, when they provide that information, this number of students that are at risk of failing. That, of course, information will include our students with disabilities. I can also provide a separate report that shows how our students with disabilities are doing to date. And that's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Wendy.
Okay, yes, thank you. Jill.
Good evening, everyone. First, I want to go back to December and really thank Courtney Streicher for organizing the Christmas program. District-wide, we were able to help 76 children, and each child received an average of 4 gifts. So I think that that's awesome that as a district, we were able to do that. In addition, we were able to, with the money collected from the sweatshirt day, we were able to provide new hats and mittens for the elementary students and new socks for the high school, middle school students. So thanks again to Courtney for organizing that. That was a huge undertaking for her. As Heidi mentioned and Wendy kind of delved into a little bit, yes, we are looking at ways to make students successful who are struggling with remote learning. And to give Bruce some of my data for the middle school, for the first marking period, if a student is failing 3 or more course classes, I had about 13%. And with the recent progress reports that went out, we're up to 23%. So like I said, we're trying to work on creative ways in addition to the 5 program to see what we can do to help those students become successful. On the positive note, at the middle school, teachers are also trying to write positive referrals for the students that are doing a great job with remote learning. And with the positive referrals, we're sending home appreciative thank you cards for being a responsible student. Another way that we're trying to be creative in the middle school is I just wanted to call out Ms. Full and ELA. She's really trying some creative ideas to engage students when we are remote learning at this time. And one of the ways that she's doing it, two of the creative ideas that she's doing is through, they just read the novel Unbroken by Laura Hillenbrand. And 2 of her activities are using Twitter and Snapchat. And so through the Twitter activity, the students are they're creating a tweet based on some prompts that she had given them, and they'll create an activity and put it on a Google slide. And they can also create a creative hashtag. And another activity is through, I've never heard of this one, is My Face When. It's a Snapchat game where using Google Slides, the students will take a picture of themselves using their Chromebooks, and then they'll show the specific facial expressions and emotion, and they tie it to a couple of quotes from the book that they just read. So these are just a couple of creative ideas that we're trying to engage students when they're fully remote. So thank you.
Thank you, Jill. At this time, any questions for Jill? Okay, Christy.
Hi, everyone. Some of the updates from technology, curriculum, and instruction. I've been working a lot with Justin Wiedrick, who is our webmaster, to make some updates to our webpage. So I would invite everyone to check that out. Just a few tweaks to the homepage, but on the actual technology page, we're really working to add some resources on Google Classroom, Google Meet, Kami, Screencastify. There already was quite a bit of information on Parent Square, but we're trying to make that a hub of resources that parents, students, and staff and teachers could all access with the large amount of learning and usage of technology, to make that a place that we kind of direct everyone to for resources on technology. So I would invite you to take a look at that. And I do want to thank Justin. He has done a lot of work with me, to try to update that. I mentioned at the last meeting that I had put a survey out to the staff on their technology needs and ideas, curriculum, and instruction. I just wanted to share 64 of our staff members did respond, which is decent. It's close, right around half. But one of the questions I asked is rate your technology resources and items. Do you have what you need on a scale of a 1 to 5? And over 81% of our respondents rated it a 4 or a 5, which is very positive. And any that weren't a 4 or 5 were at least a 3. And then I asked the same question about students. Do your students have the technology they need? And again, it was very high ratings, a little bit less of 4s and 5s, with a few more at 3s. But I kind of expected that because the major area, that we're still working towards for our students is the consistency of internet was the biggest issue. So we do have the hotspots. I know Jill Schaefer reported that out. Any hotspots for families that need those have been provided, but there are still times we are getting inconsistent internet. So that was the biggest area there. And then the 3 major areas that staff indicated they would like professional development and support are on Nearpod, Kami, and Screencastify. So in the next couple weeks, we'll have a plan for how we can support teachers with professional development in those 3 areas. And last, we did offer to our administrative team and to our K-5 teachers a full day training on the science of reading and really what research shows about reading instruction and what good readers, their brain linkages and neuropaths. So we know that we need to be selecting a new ELA curriculum in the next year in our district because Reading Street has expired. So we're kind of front loading the research on it so it can kind of feed into our selection and our discussions as we look at a new ELA program over the next year or so. So that is all I have. Any questions for me?
Yeah, Christy. The reading series, what grade levels will that target?
So we're looking specifically K-5, like K-5 has Reading Street. The middle school has used the modules with some adaptations to those, but we're actually opening the conversation UPK to 8th grade to decide if that whole span is interested in a series or if it will stay just K-5.
Perfect, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Christy. Linda. Oops. Okay, let's go down to Jill Schaefer then. Oh,
Okay. First of all, I would like to applaud our elementary art teachers. Can you hear me now? Are we good? Okay. First of all, I'd like to applaud our elementary art teachers, Melissa Kirk and David Whalen. Right before Christmas, they featured a virtual elementary art show called the 12 Days of Christmas. And students drew pictures of the 12 Days of Christmas. That was featured on our Facebook page, and it's also posted right now on our district website. So if you'd like to see, I know we're past Christmas, but if you'd like to see some great elementary artwork, it's a really enjoyable slideshow to watch. So I thank them for doing that, and it allowed a little creativity around the holidays that our students probably really enjoyed since they weren't in school during that special time. Elementary teachers also have been successfully conducting parent-teacher conferences. They are doing these conferences via Google Meets. They're also having phone conferences if that's what parents prefer. And so again, I just like to give a little positive shout out to our teachers because they're finding ways to reach students, to reach our families during unprecedented times. We did, because of the hybrid model, move to parent-teacher conferences to January when typically they're held in November. But there's still online teaching every day and holding parent-teacher conferences. And so far, they've been quite successful with participation. Following on the heels of middle school and high school conversations about grading,
and looking at how we go about grading and promoting student success and supporting student success, especially with the second semester coming up. We, Jill Schaefer and I, had a meeting with elementary teachers this afternoon. We asked them to do much the same thing. We asked them to have grade level and department conversations about their thoughts and ideas for student success moving into the third and fourth marking period. We then asked them to select grade level representatives and let us know who they chose. And then tomorrow, continuing with our district-wide efforts and collaboration for planning, we will meet with those grade level and department representatives on the elementary side. All of the administrators have been invited to join, just like as elementary administrators, we were invited to join the middle school, high school conversations. And so we'll really have a district-wide approach to some input that the teachers would like to offer, and then formulate our decisions and how to move ahead from there to support our students in the second half of the school year. We're also monitoring participation rates during our elementary Google Meets. As you know, the elementary is a little bit of a different situation with students who are often in daycare or with family members and not really able independently to join. So we're monitoring not only our student success rates, but we're in our struggles, but we're also monitoring their participation rates in Google Meets. At the end of this marking period, which concludes in the next couple of weeks, elementary will have data for you on those participation rates from Google Meets. I know I'm going to ask for it at the end of this marking period, those tallies, as well as because we don't do progress reports at 5 weeks, we will have your elementary success rates and our failures, unfortunately, available at the end of this second marking period coming up. And that's about all I have.
So Linda,
Yes.
do you have the percentages of students that are on that watch list?
No, not yet. We'll collect that at the end of this marking period. I have names because I've been having conversations with my teachers all along. I can tell you that I probably have 4 to 6 names per class, which in classes of anywhere from 14 to 20 students, I think is significant. But we'll have all of the data for you at the end. After report cards are done, we'll have that data for you more specifically.
Okay. Does it appear to be a similar trend to what we had in the middle school between first and second marking period?
I think I don't have that information with me right now, but I think we probably, since we've been out longer, I think maybe we've seen a little bit of a bump, but then at the same time, we've also in areas such as AIS have seen more kids participating. So I'd really have to break down those numbers for you specifically before I gave you an answer. It kind of varies between different subject areas and grade levels.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Jill.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Continuing with our conversation with the elementary teachers and the district-wide initiative to address our students who are not being successful during this unusual learning time. Another thing that we talked about with our elementary team, along with the third and fourth marking period, we also looked at, what do we do beyond that? What is our plan to recover what we've lost? So what is our plan to address the students who have not had success? Is it some summer programs? Is it summer school? Is it after school? What does it look like at the elementary level? It seems to, it's a little bit different from middle school and high school because they are younger. So we don't want them here, for 12 hours during the day. That's a very long day for them. So what are our other options? So that is another thing that we have asked the elementary teachers to take charge of and meet as a grade level, look at their numbers, look at their students,
and then provide some ideas to us as far as how we can move forward and support our students. So we will follow up with them tomorrow, and then we will have more information for you on that at the next month's board meeting. So that's going on with that. I had the opportunity today to cover library. Mrs. Ziegler was putting back together our book room, a project we had started before the break. So I got to read to first grade and kindergarten today for their library time. And I have to just say that probably made my year. It was absolutely adorable to see their little faces on there. And one little girl actually fell asleep while we were reading the books. And I like to think that's because I was such a good reader, and it just was very, nice for her, and not because I was boring. So, and nobody burst my bubble on that one, but it was just really sweet because it has been so long since we've been able to see them. So that was really nice, and I appreciated that opportunity. Linda and I are also working on recording some of the children's books so that we have an audio library for the students that aren't able to meet the Google Meets, but would still like to have someone read them a book. So Linda and I are going to beef up the library a little bit and read some winter themed books in the next week or two and get those up and going. We have added a number of new students at Boonville Elementary during our closure. So since our last board meeting, we've had some new students join us, and they have jumped right in during this digital learning and have been in the Google Meets. They've been meeting their peers through the computer, and I definitely think they're excited to see their classmates next week and meet the teachers face to face. We did do some parent-teacher conferences if they were here in time for those, so that was a nice way for the students to meet their teachers as well. We also have asked parents this week to update us if they are changing learning platforms. Before we went to break, we had about 50 students from Boonville Elementary that were fully remote. And our highest, if you remember this year, was 68. So we have made some improvement with getting some students back in the building in that hybrid schedule. So we've just asked the parents to just update us if anything has changed with that so that we can make those appropriate changes for Google Classroom and let the teachers know. So we'll have those updated numbers for you soon. And then I just want to give a shout out to all of the teachers. I know district-wide, we had beautiful art and music virtual concerts that we've posted on our YouTube channel. And they were also shared on Facebook. And I believe some of them were even shared through Parent Square. But they were just absolutely wonderful. And I had the pleasure of seeing some of the teachers in some of their holiday parties or, some of their meets during the last 2 weeks of school before Christmas break. And the teachers really did a great job of making it as fun as it possibly could be, considering we weren't here and the students weren't here in person. And usually the holiday season in an elementary school especially is just bursting with excitement and bright colors and lots of projects, and just everybody's happy. And the teachers just did a really wonderful job with carrying that through, even through the virtual platform. So shout out to them. And that's it for me.
Jill, do you have any numbers as far as how many kids are on your list approximately per grade level?
Well, I'm in the same boat as Linda. We don't do 5-week reports at the elementary level, so we don't have that data like middle school, high school does right now. If I had, just again, we do the grade level check-ins with the teachers. So to ballpark it for you, we're probably looking at 8 to 10 students per grade level here that are on our significant watch list that, struggled a little bit before when we were here. Some of them have really struggled with remote learning, so that has strengthened those numbers, I guess, in a way. They've made them, a little bit more concrete as far as who's our really struggling group that we're keeping an eye on. The teachers are constantly reaching out, they're parent squaring, they're emailing, they're calling, they're, doing everything they can to get a hold of folks and the parents and try and figure out what is it? Is it that they don't have connectivity? Is it that they're at daycare and they're trying to help them identify what is the issue that is preventing them from connecting with them online or turning in assignments, and then thinking outside the box to help address those and come up with another way to engage them in learning. So we'll have some hard numbers once we get done with second marking period and we have those actual grades.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Mike, can we back up to Heidi and Dan? We didn't get numbers, didn't get percentages in the high school.
Bruce, I'll send my numbers to Ed because I have numbers. I did the breakdown and I'll send those down for one course, 2 courses, and 3 courses. And I did it a little different. So I got ideas we need to target areas we need to talk about as we go through. So I have the stuff, but I just would rather send the numbers down once I have it cleaned up. So I kind of know the courses that we have to look at, especially in 9th and 10th grade. And then the seniors are a different animal we have to work on. Okay?
Okay, when do you think you'll be sending those?
I can send them down tomorrow to Ed once I have everything in order for him. I do have numbers and stuff. And I know seniors are a different animal than your 9th and 10th graders. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And Dan, I'm sorry, just a question for you as well on the low impact sports. When did you say the section was meeting again to determine moving forward on those? The low risk sports? Or have they determined that they're moving forward?
Yeah, they're already moving forward. It's just, I'm just having a local athletic director meeting, just with some of the league athletic directors, just our monthly meeting. And we're going to report out, a lot of the districts are already on board. There's a few that aren't, and there's a couple that are on the fence. We're one of the districts that are on the fence. So we're going to kind of, just give our final tallies or whatever, because with everything starting up, everybody wants to know with the schedules and everything. So they're just trying to firm up everything.
So is this a topic that we're going to discuss tonight?
It would be helpful. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Brian.
Good evening. Just a few things as it's kind of quiet down the bus garage these days. We got 2 buses on the road actually delivering students up to Lowville, the Lowville Academy and ACES. They're running every day. Otherwise, we have Wednesday and Thursdays, we're delivering meals to about 600 students a day. So that's a good positive thing for the district. And as with all the other departments in the district, we're looking forward to bringing back students next week. That's all I have at this time.
Thanks, Brian. Cameron.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So most of our items are happening up by the high school right now, just with the amount of construction going on. Some of the other schools that we're working in with a lot of the stuff, we're doing some library moves at K5 with some of the shelving, kind of repurposing some of the older shelving out of the high school that's in great condition still, switching it out so they can have a little more space and a little more usability down there. And it's a really nice piece not to throw away. So we're doing some other work in the other schools. Westside, they're trying to get into some of the deeper areas for cleaning and scrubbing that we normally can't. Utilizing some of the equipment we've had at the high school for that we don't have down there. We're not able to bring it down there all the time. So we're doing some deep cleaning with one of those machines. Main focus up at the high school, or the main amount of work going on up at the high school for us right now. Nurses high school office is into the new space. The guidance counselors are into their new spaces. Dan, we moved him in yesterday, kind of today. And the two secretaries will be moving in tomorrow. We're waiting on a window that came in broken, so that got installed last night. And just some finishing touches. So we'll be finalizing the main office moves tomorrow. Teachers have been in the mailroom, I want to say, for almost 2 weeks now, utilizing that space. And we've cleared out of the hallways, kind of turning it back into, the school that you guys remember. Library is planned to start moving at the end of the week here. We're going to start bringing the books in Thursday, Friday. All of the plank flooring in the library is down. The carpet is all down. They are working on the lights right now in the open ceiling area, as well as firing everything up HVAC wise. Ceilings in the corridors. And then we've been working our staff kind of hand in hand, pushing the contractors out, doing some of the cleaning as we do a better job at it, as well as some painting projects, some stained drywall areas in the middle school. We repaired a bunch of drywall in the middle school bathrooms. Entryway hit the main high school front entryway. That's all been recarpeted. And the 100K project from last year, we didn't approve it. Or it was approved. We didn't accept the work that was done, and we had them come back. So they came back right over Christmas and finished their repainting. So they've now painted the walls twice and painted the ceiling with that epoxy paint twice. So it is looking really good now. So that's all been cleaned out and moved back in, actually set up for the gym class to do ping pong in there for when they come back. So we're taking some steps in the right directions there. That's about it. Thank you.
Any questions for Cam? Okay, thank you. Do you have some comments now or at the end?
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
I'll send out a few reminders on Parent Square as our means of communication, and also on our webpage. And we sent out the testing consent forms at the end of December for parents in regards to permission for testing at school. And Dan had alluded to earlier in regards to testing. So if a school district is in the yellow zone, we have to test 20% of our students and employees. Right now, it was going by certain areas within a county or zip code, but as of last week, there was discussion about making an entire county a particular colored zone. So as most things have happened throughout this pandemic, things are fluid and change all the time. But if parents could return the consent form, we would appreciate it very much. In regards to positive COVID cases, throughout the vacation break in December, I continue to send that because I want to keep the community informed in regards to our students or employees who tested positive. Throughout that time, December 22nd to January 4th, we did not have to report to the State Department of Health when a school is on vacation. We submitted that information when we came back. So they said that they would take that into consideration as schools put in that information when they came back from vacation. But I continued to send the letters just to keep everybody up in regards to the positive cases that we've had. So, so far, for the positive cases that we've had, as I send it out, whether it's a student or staff member, we started out the year really in good shape, September and October. And then really what happened was after the Thanksgiving break into December. So we've had right now 27 students who have tested positive and 12 staff members since the beginning of the year. And again, if parents have done an awesome job with communicating with the school and our nurses. Please continue to do that. And I put in my last 2 letters to make sure that you call the school and let us know if your child is positive, because we hear from you first. So it's really important that if your child is positive, that you call the school and talk with the nurse and let them know that. We'd appreciate it very much, and you've done an awesome job with that. So those are our numbers so far. So hopefully we'll see these numbers go down in the coming weeks and months. So again, with the testing forms, if you could please submit those. We have about, I think, around 370 that have been returned. We're receiving them every day, so please continue to submit those. And as Dan had mentioned earlier, today in all the buildings, West Leyden, Boonville, and middle school, high school, they did go through and did a trial run of what a testing would be for our students and our staff. It was a good trial run and trying to figure out everything that would need to happen to make it run smoothly. So again, if you could submit those, we would greatly appreciate it.
Okay. At this time, I will ask for a motion on the consent agenda. Raise your hand if you, Doug. Is there a second to Doug's motion? Joan, is there any questions on the consent agenda? All in favor? Oh, there's Rick. Fine. Okay. All opposed? Carried. On to the regular agenda. Whereas Adirondack Central School administrators have completed training which meets the requirements. This is for the district's annual professional review plan, so they can be lead evaluators of teachers, and it included, be it resolved that each of the administrators went through this certification process. Is there a motion to accept? Mark, is there a second? Rick, any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you to all the administrators for going through that process to keep up your certification. 3, resolve that upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the board award the control systems contract for the 2021 capital outlay project at the high school to the following bidder: Day Automation of East Syracuse, total of $81,999.45. Is there a motion? Bruce, is there a second? Doug, any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. I apologize. I see all the board members except Mandy. So if you're raising your hand, I'm not seeing it, but I'm sure Michelle is. Oh, okay. If there's an opposition, just pipe up, please.
Mike, I would just say, in regards to the capital outlay project, that was in the May budget newsletter. And so we've been doing these for about 3 years now. And so school districts have this available to them. And then the following year, the state reimbursed us a percentage of that cost. So it's wise for school districts to do these projects because we get approximately 85% back on the cost of the project.
Thank you. Number 4, resolved that upon the recommendation of the Committee on Special Education, approval to be granted for placement of students. Is there a motion? Bruce, is there a second? Mark, any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. 5, resolve that upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the board declare equipment and/or textbooks from the district as surplus and be disposed of in the most expedient manner as per the discretion of the superintendent of schools. Is there a motion? Rick, seconded by Doug. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. 6, resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the board approved the budget transfers for December 2020. Is there a motion? Mark? Second. Bruce? Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. 7, resolve that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education approve the 2020-21 furlough memorandum of agreement between the Adirondack Central School District and the Adirondack Teachers Association. Is there a motion? No motion? It could be Mandy and I don't see her. Bruce, is there a second? Doug, any discussion? As you know, this is to remain consistent on what we did with the non-instruction. Doesn't mean we're projecting furloughs in the future, but this cleans up the contract and any, so we form a guideline and basis for the future. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Included in the in your packet are the warrants that we usually get and the receipts. Treasurer's report for November 30th, 2020. As you can see, we are going to have soon a student teacher from Oswego helping out Heather Sweeney with agriculture. And then the last bullet I had Michelle add on. My term on the Jeff Lewis BOCES board expires at the end of June, and if I am to run again or be part of the board, I need a district to nominate me. So I'm kind of asking the Adirondack board to put my name in the hopper again.
When does that need to be done by, Mike?
It normally comes out within the next 30 days. The vote is until May. April. There's three board members up, Mike Youngs, Lynn Murray, and myself.
I'll make a motion to nominate you.
Is there a second? Mandy, okay. All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Also.
Hey, Mike.
Yes.
Just a side note, Stephanie Finn is a nice young lady. She graduated from Holland Patton a year early. I believe she went to Cornell and graduated in 3 years from Cornell. And her mother used to teach in Adirondack. If any of you remember Debbie Finn,
Yeah.
she taught over in Forestport. Really, really wonderful family. So that's I think we'll be very happy with her as a student teacher.
Very good. Thank you for that background. Included our handouts for the January 2021 calendar and enrollment figures. Anything else for discussion?
Mike?
Yes.
At the last meeting, Rick brought up, it was in the minutes from the second to the last meeting about trying to get the special ed students, trying to prioritize getting the special ed students
Yep.
back. Is there any updates on the status of that?
Wendy, is that something we're trying to make happen?
It would be wonderful if we could. I mean, we're certainly hoping they're all going to be back next week. And then from there, we would love to look at opportunities to start bringing them back. Can we move forward with that, though? I didn't realize that was, is that something we would consider if we could bring them back safely and
Not the,
I think part of the discussion too was how we're, with some of the special ed committee placements of students, just making sure that they're getting all of their services too. So we were wondering about having them come back on a full-time basis. That was the question that was asked.
are we referring to all students with disabilities at Adirondack K-12?
Yeah, with who have IEPs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, can we move forward with looking at that as an option?
They're already going to do that.
I thought the focus, I mean, I would have loved that all along, but I thought the focus was bringing back the early
Right.
grade.
I can't hear you, Wendy.
I thought the focus was bringing back the early grades, the K-3 group first.
I think we were talking about, there were different opinions on that.
Okay.
I wasn't Rick talking about the 12131 or 811?
why don't we, we'll have that discussion and give Ed some direction as a board. We did leave it open-ended, and here we are at the end of the period of all remote. So it will at least give us direction moving forward and some finality to the decision rather than leaving it open-ended. Is that okay, Bruce?
Yeah, I was kind of hoping Rick would have chimed in because he was the one that was asking the question. And I thought it was about was it the 811 classroom or the 12131, or I forget which one it was, but.
You there, Rick?
I'm right here. I've been here the whole time. I said what I thought I wanted to say last time, and to be quite honest, nothing really happened after that I know of. Nothing moved forward, and I wasn't really spoken to by anybody about how things could move forward. And I thought I'd done what I was supposed to do to try to express my feelings as a parent and as a board member. But, I mean, quite frankly, I just gave up. My wife is teaching Ray right now at the kitchen table. So she's taking the packets that we get and trying to do the best she can after school hours.
Don't give up, Rick.
I mean, prior to when we had gone full remote back in December, we were hoping to sort of do it as triage. So the second round of my recommendations was that we then bring students in other special class placements. So initially we had our students in the 12131 program being offered a full-time in-person opportunity. So they were here 5 days a week for full-time in-person instruction. The next group, we were hoping if we could accommodate them safely within keeping students 6 feet apart, we could do all the precautionary measures, was to then bring our students in the 15-1 program, as well as our students that had additional staffing support. Several of our students have shared aid support or aid support during class. So that would have been round 2, and then bring them all after that. But if we were to triage it and bring it back in tiers, that was the initial recommendation. But then when, the infection rates got to the level they did, and we made the decision, or the district made the decision to go full remote, I thought that included all students. And we are just so excited that Tuesday they're all going to be back, the 12131 students, for their full-time in-person instruction. So, but if you would love, the request for students with disabilities to be offered a return to school for more frequent in-person instruction is rampant. So if that's something the district could do, whatever you need from me to see if that would work, we would absolutely support that. But I think we also have to include, because I hear this frequently, we often refer to students with disabilities, students with IEPs, but I know many of our families, also students with 504 accommodation plans, would like similar consideration. So when we're looking at numbers in the district, that puts us at about 250 students. So if you would like us to move forward with trying to coordinate that effort, I look at Brian, we'll look at transportation, we'll look at each classroom. But I misunderstood. I thought the direction was bringing back the next group for students to be offered more in-person learning time was the early grades. But I would certainly love to be an advocate for the SWID crowd. And if we could bump them over the early grades, that would be awesome.
And I think what happened too, I understand that, like, as soon as the Thanksgiving break was over and we were remote, every week, several times a week, in fact, we were all getting the notifications from Mr. Niznik of the COVID cases. Mm-hmm. So when during those, couple weeks, and then this next week now, and there hasn't been more than 2 or 3 days without us getting a notice, and each notice has more than one case. It's so part of it was, I don't want to sound like I'm completely negative against the district. I was partially frustrated with the district not allowing Ray to come back, but then it's like there was so many cases. I don't even know if we have the staff to have anyone come back during the last few weeks. Even if we had wanted to be open and have a hybrid or normal schedule, I don't think we could have done it in the last several weeks. So part of me saying that I gave up is that I knew that, like, right now with the infection rates in our county and apparently in Adirondack, the cases are quite a few, So it's been a real hot mess through the end of 2020 and now the beginning of 2021 in terms of the pandemic. And hopefully things pick up a little bit with more people being able to get the vaccine.
One of the concerns, and it's not something we report to families, it's certainly not in our notification, but one of the concerns when we went to our full closure was that the students in our 12131 program are often our students that do not wear masks. And some of those students' families actually had positive cases in their home. So I know there was some real concern with the students that do not wear masks for a variety of reasons. Each student we look at differently, and we do the best we can to support them. And we're very, we really give all of the precautionary measures to the staff that's supporting the students that aren't wearing the masks. But when we heard that there were some positive cases in those families, that was a concern too with some of the staff. We really don't know how students are impacted by COVID. So, and we do have some students that would be considered high risk in the 12131 program. And now we know that they typically do not wear masks. So we were very worried about that. We are worried. That is a concern that some of the folks have come and talked to me about, are they all safe to return? So lots of considerations. There's a lot to consider and look at, but we're very, very open to having that conversation regarding bringing more students with disabilities, giving them more opportunities for in-person learning time. So.
Mike, the other thing from the last meeting was about on the treasurer's report, the checks from that were kind of, and I just want to say I appreciate Sharon taking care of that. She reached out to me and told me that those have all been cleaned up. And then lastly, is there anything the district can do, or are we doing now that teachers are eligible for the vaccination? Is there anything we can do to facilitate and assist with getting those teachers those shots through the district? I know some districts in the area have done that. I almost think there's at least one district that is actually giving the shots within their doors. Is that something that we can do as well? Because I know, from a contact tracing standpoint, you've got the concern of the students, you also got the concern of the staff. But the sooner I think we get those vaccinations rolled out and to the people that want them, I think that benefits all of us.
Well, the only thing that I can say is, no matter what arrangements are made, the allocation of shots per county is a set number right now. You could make the arrangements and still be 2 months out per scheduling of the shots. I really do not think school districts are getting priority for vaccinations. For example, the state just lowered the age from 75 plus in 1B down to 65. Lowering the age, and that group includes the teacher, is not going to guarantee that people are going to get their vaccines quicker. There's 3,000 shots a week distributed to Oneida County. So you do the quick math, to do all of 1A and 1B is going to take at least 14 to 16 weeks. So until allocations are increased, until more you could have all the sites you want in Oneida County, you don't have the vaccines to go around, and you don't have the people to administer the vaccines to go around. But I know Mr. Niznik is constantly, all the superintendents are looking what can be done. And I think we're hearing some things that are positive in Lewis County, but their numbers are totally different than Oneida County. So it's a hurry up and wait. I mean, even in the governor's comments today about lowering the age to 65 and up, he also said that you're going to have to be patient. This is not as big of a quick fix as everyone thinks. It's not get online and sign up for tomorrow. It may be get online for 6 weeks from now. So I can tell you that if you go on my professional competitor, if you get on kinney's.com or .whatever, you can schedule. The Kinney stores are going to start getting vaccinations in. They will be doing them locally. But I have also been told that because it started yesterday, that they are booked for, many of the stores are already booked for over a month from now. So, you know, you just have to get onto the state website, see where it's locally available and sign up.
So our position is basically to have the teachers kind of do it on their own.
Say that again?
So our position is to basically have the teachers make their own efforts to get the vaccination.
I know for a fact, I talked to Fawn the other day, and all the nurses are looking at an opportunity to get someone into school. So I just don't think anyone realizes not the roadblocks, but there's bumpers on this process. I mean, there's limitations. We could have the best clinic in the world arranged, set up for 3 weeks from today, and there is no guarantee right now that those vaccinations will be there, because no matter what, if, as an example, if every teacher in Oneida County wanted a vaccination right now, they are not going to jump ahead of all the 75-year-olds and up. They're distributed and administered proportionally to the population of your county. So it really is going to be a hurry up and wait. But that doesn't mean we can't look at it. The supply chain's got to change soon. So we should be in position to take advantage of it when it gets better. But if someone can do it on their own quicker, because they interviewed some teachers online last night on WKTV that did break through and get their vaccination, but that's the exception, not the rule.
We have worked closely throughout this whole pandemic with Lewis County, and the original, like all plans, the original plan was with Lewis County for those individuals who worked in West Leyden Elementary, or if you lived in Lewis County, but you worked at Adirondack, but you lived in Lewis County, you would also be able to get the vaccination. And the original thought process was that they would come to the schools and do that. Well, when the governor announced last Friday that Monday they would start distributing them, they decided that they were not coming to the schools, that they would set up clinics. So the first 3 they had was in the Lowville, Elks, and Constableville, and Croghan Fire Department. So I have sent that information out to the teachers and also the survey, as we thought we would be able to have them come on site for those individuals. For Oneida County, Rome Hospital, a couple weeks ago had reached out to us for nurses, OT, PT, and speech therapists, and anyone who would be on a testing team. So the teachers, when I got that email at 9 o'clock, I immediately sent it out to those individuals so they could sign up and get their vaccination at Rome Hospital, which many of them did. And then I've sent out the links to sites, but as soon as I find out additional information in regards to any clinics, I'll share that with the employees. And also, I'm always in contact with the nurses and seeing also what they're finding out. But I haven't heard myself of a school that's doing the vaccination, but I'd like to know how they're doing it. So that would be good to find out.
And I had heard Camden.
I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session for personnel matter. There, Bruce, is there a second? Mandy. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you all for being with us tonight, and see everyone in 2 weeks.